Have you heard of the #1 rated autism podcast? No, it's not Turn Autism Around. That's my podcast. It is called Autism Live. And the host is Shannon Penrod, celebrating something like 11 years of many times a week. They're doing this show. So anyway, today we are talking showing you a clip of me interviewing Shannon Penrod, who is filled with so much wisdom. We talk about her son, and we talk about the things she's accomplished to help other parents. Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, Dr. Mary Barbera, and each week I provide you with some of my ideas about turning things around. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that now. So like I said, we are showing a small excerpt from podcast number 186 with Shannon Penrod today. She's just a very warm, funny mom with so many stories and so much insight into the autism world. Let's get to that. And I really want to talk before we, wrap up here. We have a couple more minutes, and I mostly wanted to have you on the show to talk about your book. So can you tell our listeners, hold it up, tell us the name of the book and all about the book.
So here's the book. It's just out. It's called Autism Parent to Parent, and the subtitle is Sanity-Saving Advice for Every Parent with a Child on the Autism Spectrum. And I'm going to hold up Mary's book at the same time, because I think that these are great companion books. I think if you have both of these books, you really would have a leg up. What I did in mine is I said, I've been on this journey for a while, and hosting all these shows and talking to all these experts, and then what we've gone through and the parents that I've talked to, there are a couple of things I've learned. And, now I'm sure it's like this for you too, Mary, that people will call me up and they'll go, oh, my friend's child just got diagnosed. Can you talk to them? And it becomes this phone call where I wish that I had all this stuff to be able to give them. And I made a promise to myself that I was going to write it all down so that even when I'm not here, there would be a record of it somewhere and that it could help somebody. And I think where this book is a little bit different is that, like, Mary's book is amazing because it's really the steps of how to do, this, and the other, which is just amazing. I think, where my book is a little bit different, and I think a good companion piece to it is that I tend to talk about, okay, so this is going to happen. Here are some ways that you might feel about it. And here's what to do when you're feeling that way. I want to normalize it for parents that you're entitled to have all the feelings that you have. It does not make you a bad parent. You're a great parent. And here's how you want to talk to yourself so that you get back to doing the good things. And I demystify some of the things because there's a lot of bad information out there. People will say things to you, and I give you tips and tricks for how to weed through whether it's important to you, whether it's not important to you, and how to deal with the feelings. Every chapter ends with a little self-talk about, say this or something like this to yourself when you're feeling the feelings around it, because I didn't have that. And for me, the feelings were as much a part of the experience as everything else. Mm-hmm. The feelings were huge.
Yeah.
And I, for me, I think if what all of us wish for in the moment that somebody is about to get the diagnosis or getting the diagnosis is that they had a best friend who'd already been through it, that you could call up and the friend would say, you're okay. Your kid's going to be okay. There's some stuff you're going to do differently. People are going to look at you funny. You're going to survive that. And here's how. And, and here are some lines to go stand in line in. And in that way, it overlaps a little bit with your book. And I'm going to say this. I think that your book is much better about saying, here's what to do and then do this next. My book is much more about, and when you get in that line and you feel like this and your mother-in-law says to you this, here's how you're going to live through that. And you are going to live through it, and it is going to happen, and somebody's going to say something stupid that's not helpful to you, and you can't let it take you off course.
Yeah.
But allow yourself to acknowledge how you feel, because there's a whole lot of people telling autism parents, well, just get over it. I don't know how you do that.
Right. Or
That's just,
it doesn't have to be the center of your life. It's like, well, how can it not be when
yeah.
I'm spending hours and hours and hours trying to coordinate,
Yeah.
and
Or stop being angry. You're angry all the time.
or
And you
don't be
seem to be,
guilty.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, but and I think, and I haven't read your book yet, but I am definitely going to read it now. But I don't think I do enough with all the feelings. I've always been like, come on, because once you start to see progress with, the early
Yes.
learner materials and stuff like that, you will naturally feel better and
Yes.
you'll have more hope and your child will communicate better. And, so I'm
Yes.
just like, come on, I mean, of
Which
course,
I think is valid and important, Mary.
and I like the fact that you are saying that they really go hand in hand nicely.
I think so.
I think it sounds like you do a much better job at the feelings, the emotions, the things that are going to come up. And they're not just going to come up during that early diagnosis period. They're going to come up all the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And what I love is that people have said to me who have read it, they're like, oh my gosh. And then, I'll be reading this very serious thing. And then you make me laugh out loud because I can't show up and bring at least some of the funny. My way of looking at the world is just funny anyway.
Well, and you were a comedian.
I was a stand-up comedian. I was a stand-up comedian for a while. I just pretend that I am now in the confines of my personal shower. But my view,
I would love a show by you because I think you are very funny.
Can I tell you, I have you? We haven't even talked about this, that before the pandemic, I started doing a one-woman comedy show called The Autism Monologues.
Okay.
And it's a series of, like, I do the IEP and I play all of the characters in the IEP. And then we had dates, we were set to go on tour, and then pandemic happened. So at some point I'm going to get back to the Autism Monologues. We've talked about filming it, professionally filming it, but because I said to somebody, my head is like a clown car. And so when autism came along, I didn't stop having a clown car in my head. I just looked at the things like diagnosis and how, there's a whole segment of it that's a game show. And there is a category that's a river in Egypt, because it's all the different ways that I was in denial.
I mean, when you go on tour, please let me know.
I will let you know.
I would love to come. And it's not the kind of thing you can just do a YouTube clip because that's all your material. And it's, it is more of a live thing, but it's got to be so tough as a comedian to have all these great ideas and then.
Well, there is one clip that is online. I don't know. I'll find it and it's called Alphabet Land. I don't know if that's what we named it, but it's about all of the acronyms.
Yeah.
That drive you full on crazy. And it's a song. It's like a music video. But it's a laugh. If you get it, it's hysterical. One of my friends who came to see the show, when we got to that portion of the show, he said, I didn't understand a single word that you said because it was just all these acronyms. And he said, but the fact that people were laughing so hard that they were close to throwing up, he said, that must be a thing. He doesn't have a kid on the spectrum. He was like, you got to explain to me what that thing is.
But I feel like every day, even though Lucas is going to be 26 in a few days from the time of this recording, and it's like, I feel like every day I'm just shaking my head like, you can't even make this stuff up.
Yeah, right?
Like, it's just unbelievable. And Lucas needs lifelong care, 24/7 care. He, barely communicates, and he's still as independent as possible, as safe as possible, as happy as possible. And your son is, not even identifying as having autism at this point. And but I think it shows us, it shows our listeners that, it doesn't matter where you end up.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter where you start or where you end up. You can still have a happy, fulfilling life. And so can your kid.
And I think that's an important story that we need to be telling all the way down the road. What I hear all the time is parents who their kid is, 25, 35, whatever, and they finally have the epiphany. This is my kid, and I love my kid, and I'm always going to love my kid. And I do have a relationship with my kid, and we do have a way that we communicate with each other. And I do know my child, even if my child cannot utter a single sound, even if they are not proficient at pointing at a thing and communicating with me that way, I still have all of that with my child. And that in that moment, they go, oh, I've wasted all of these years worrying about, and I feel like if we can tell these stories, that maybe we can get parents on that ship earlier so that it doesn't have to be an epiphany when they're 25, that I feel very confident whenever a parent comes to me that I can say to them, you're going to be okay. And your kid is going to be okay. I don't know what your path is going to be, and I don't know where you're going to end up, but let's start with you're going to be okay. Because I don't feel like there's enough people telling that story, Mary. And I think when people see that both of us are okay, we're okay, and our kids are okay, and they're leading happy, productive lives, maybe that will resonate.
I hope you enjoyed that short excerpt from podcast 186. If you did, check out the full podcast by looking in the show notes or comments. And for more information about how you might be able to join our online course and community, you should attend a free workshop today at marybarbera.com/workshop. And I'll see you right here next time.